it's your boy Banner, and welcome to another episode of Try Bonsai. My friends, I would have taken an air layer from this ironwood tree, and this is the top point where I took the air layer off. Now, the plan is, or what I've noticed, or what my plan is to bring this tree back down and start it over. However, there are some bits that I want to take off as individual trees. Now, the idea that I'm having is that this trunk comes up and it starts to give some curvature up here. And this would have been the result of, as you can see, there's a cut point here. So this branch developed. But there is this, as it is right now, my friends, to me, it is too big for the top of the tree. This is the size of the trunk down here. So I want to take this, but what I wanted to do was to take it from this point here. However, this is quite a tight spot to do an air layer because of this branch here. Now, this is a pretty nice branch that I can either develop as a new lead along with this, or I could take this as an air layer, take this as an air layer, and then eventually take this as an air layer and start this from scratch all over again. With that thought process, and considering that you all can't answer me real time unless I just post this asking a question for some feedback, what I decided to do is I'm going to try to take this as an air layer and take this as an air layer. What do you think? I could leave this and leave this here, but there's going to be a tremendous gap in between. And that the hope would be, if I only take this, the hope would be that something would grow from this point. But here is the next little bit. There's a bit reverse taper happening around this point here, and I don't particularly like it. So the trunk tapers up, and I know I'm talking on long. The trunk tapers up, right, with a weird root already. Let me see that I'm showing you all it. This is my tools that I have here, waiting to get the job done. This is the trunk, as it were, and it comes up, and then there's a flare right at this point here, which is not so nice. So I would prefer to take this off and start it over. I could leave this as the new lead, but how would that look? I don't know. So I think I'm going to stick to my original plan and take this tree in stages. Either taking this first, then this, or taking these two, and then this. So, let me just go. So, my friends, this is what I decided to do. Take it in parts. Take it in parts. When in doubt, try a different route. I was originally going to go after this one. However, I saw the potential for possible projects with these two side branches, which I have done the air layers on. When these two take off, I will come back and take this centerpiece here, making this from here all the way up to here a new tree. This may possibly be another, and I'm showing you all some bad filming work. This could possibly be layered as a new tree. However, I don't know, I might just cut this off and leave this as the new lead, taking it from this point here. It has some good movement. So, on to the next project. Alright, my friends, so we're moving. This is the next project. What this is a double air layer that I did. These were two branches on one tree, and they were close like this together. And I tried an experiment. I never did that before. And I air layered the both of them together as they were. I put a little bit of wire, which I have since removed, at least the majority of it. And they are growing, they are fusing together. Right? They are slowly but surely fusing together. Now, what I want to do is to repeat that exercise and take an air layer up here. Right? So I'd have this, and then I'd take an air layer here as another double, creating more material, more good material to work with and develop something nice in the future. Right? I have an idea in my head, and in order to fulfill that or to move forward with that idea, I need material. And why not make material from the material that you have already? I know, why not? So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, as I said before, do another double air layer here, taking these two as one layer, right? Now, to do that, to create what I want these two to come even closer together, which would then force me to remove this branch here. You see this branch that pokes across? It stops this from getting any closer. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to do the scarring around this point. And I'm going to use a trusty old butter container to create that. So I'm going to bore a hole, put it around, and snap. So let this go. So first things first, my friends, what I'm going to do, as I already have the soil mix, which is a mixture of Pro Mix with a little bit of sphagnum moss, nothing much to talk about. And I put a little bit of molasses in the dirt. The sugars in the molasses would help with the root development. And I'll have to monitor for ants because it's sugar. You know what that is. Anyways, so what I'm doing now is taking my time and cutting a hole in the center of this butter container. And I'm cutting a modest hole. It's not so circular as all that, but say what. I'm cutting a modest hole because I want it to be a bit tight on the layers, right? And now I am going to cut down the center, taking my time because the knife is sharp, right? And this is just to show that you can use what you have at home. The butter finish, you don't need to throw this away. You can use it. So this is the offer up here, and I need to take away a little bit more from the bottom here. So I'm going to take my time and remove just a bit again. So now that I've finished doing that, what I want to do is to do the same thing to the top. The container is prepared. As I said, what I wanted to do was to remove this branch here. Very nice branch, but it has to go. And it's gone, taking off. Nice piece of material, but say what? Put that on the side, and now it could come even closer together, like that. That's the idea. So, let me get to scarring this up. I'm gonna scar this up, remove the cambium, put some rooting hormone, and come and finish up the job. Yep, so let me go. So what I just did, I just marked the top of where the roots should ideally come out. And so I took some measurements and let me get comfortable. I'm sitting on a bucket and let's start to do this. See what happening. The bottle container worked for the most part. When it came time to closing the container as I hoped it would have closed, yes, I could have created a bigger hole, but I didn't want to overcut. So, plastic bag. The soil is nice and moist. It will stay moist. It has everything in it, and by the grace of God, these will be good layers, and they would take off and they would do well, for the future. I don't know what time it is, but we have a little sun in the sky. Let me see if I could do something else one time. So, continuing on with this afternoon and this wonderful Saturday afternoon, a crazy thought just hit me. I don't know if this is a workable crazy thought, but we go see. We shall see. So, what is the thought? What you're looking at is 3 Wrightia Religiousa plants. What is crazy about these plants? As I turn them to bring them in closer for you to see. These were all root cuttings from a root ball that I got from my friend Errol, and I took it apart, and out of the set, I had more but I gave away. I have these 3 here. Now I have other root ball items, but that's for another project. And I'm thinking I want to do something with these 3 fellows, probably as one kind of a bit of material. Now, that poses a challenge, my friends. because I had to think about and I had to think quick because it's getting dark. And it's as though these ideas just hit me when it's getting dark. I don't know why. The thing is, the idea that I have, I want to put all three into one planting. Right? But it's how I'm going to put all three into one planting, because as you can see, they all have, show you, some crazy kind of root-based movement. Right? 1, 2, and I don't know what is happening inside the pot. 3. So, as quick as I can and as efficiently as I can, giving myself the challenge to finish this before it gets too dark and the mosquitoes probably start to come out and make a mass with my legs. I'm thinking that I'm going to get some bits of rock or stone around, get one of the tile pots, and see how quickly we could bare root these, try them out with some rocks and whatnot, and make an arrangement and put them into a tile pot. Wally City. Something like a good idea in this late afternoon period. I say, let we just go. So, as I get ready to do this bit of work, as I say, I'm going to try to move as quickly as possible. I just want to take the opportunity to show off my new, I don't know what you call it, but it's like an apron for tools. And I have my tools all stashed away nicely in them. And this was a gift from my friends from Canada, my Trini friends who have migrated to Canada. Candice, Jeremy, and her husband, Jason Jeremy. Very, very good friends of mine, like you wouldn't believe. And they came for a visit during the carnival period. And she thought it was a very good idea. And I appreciate the thought and I appreciate the gift to get me this apron. I really appreciate this. Thank you so very, very much, Candice. Thank you so very, very much, Jason. They also got me this piece of thing here. So, and what this does, it's a tray that folds up and you could do some dirt work without having to soil up your area, because she heard on one of my videos that I would have liked to have had a little tray to catch the dirt when I am removing stuff from plants and whatnot, rather than having to mess up the entire area. So I put it together. She got me this. I am so very happy for these. So thank you so very, very much. Let me get to the work now. So first things first, my friends, as you can see, I have my dirt tray down, and I'm going to bare root these trees to see what is happening with them. Now the soil is a bit wet because we had a bit of rain, but I believe it shouldn't be in a bad state. And the dirt is coming out easily. But what we have happening, what I'm noticing is that this first one was in need of a repot. The soil in and of itself probably wasn't of the best quality. You know, it was the soil mix at the time, and that is something that is refined as I go along in this thing. So this is one. I'll give them a wash in a sec. Alright, there's one. This is the second one. Let me see what is happening here. And this has more roots, a lot more roots. So this was in a much better Actually, no. The soil component, I'm blaming myself for things, and it may not necessarily have been the soil component because this has a lot more roots than the other one. It could be the tree, or it could be something that I've done, that I did, that did not take too kindly to the material. But it is what it is, and I'm talking away from the camera religiously as though I have on a microphone. Last one. Let's see what's happening. And this one looks as though it had some successful roots happening. And I'm not going to reuse this soil. I'm going to get rid of this soil and give these a fresh batch of soil. This did a lot better than the others. Now the roots are tangled into the mesh that was used to the bottom. So I have to take my time and take this one apart. Unlike the others that fell apart, I have to take this one apart. So we're going to do that, quickly get rid of this soil. And then we're going to look at doing some root work and organizing for the new humble places of abode, the new households, so I'm going to come back as soon as I finish with this. So I was able to take them out of the soil and give the roots a wash to expose them, and now let's look at what is happening with each of these trees to see what we can and can't do. Where's the third one? Oh, it hooked up. So the first fellow has a fork kind of a thing happening here, right? The second fellow has really nice curvature, natural curvature coming up with some roots. I'll probably remove one or two of the overly high roots. And the big fellow is another, actually not a double, but a triple kind of a system that is happening. So what I am thinking, I have a few pieces of coral stone that I want to use, and what I'll have to do is to pick the best ones for each individual tree, and then arrange it into the pot. So this is where, for me, the magic going and start to happen. So on my turntable, my friends, I took out the pieces of coral stone that I have, some a bit more weathered than the others, and some larger than. So what I'm going to do now is to look at who would fit who the best, or if two plants could go onto one coral stone, giving it you know what I'm trying to say, giving it some kind of meaning. So let me look at this for a bit, and we're going to come back when I've made a decision. So as you realize, we're into the night time now, and after much deliberation and contemplating what to do, how to do it, try this way, try that way, I think I'll come up with a plan. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to bring out the tree plants almost attached to the pieces of coral stone. One piece of coral stone was a failure, but it'll serve in a different way, and get these into some soil and give them a good soaking. So let me get it. So I have a base layer of soil down. Let me bring out the pieces of material now. So each one of the bits of material was assigned to a piece of coral stone, right? And I tried to fit them as best as I could. So this had the fork root. One went down into a hole and the other is behind. This cannot bend to go into this hole, which I wish it could have. So this will sit nicely somewhere about. I just resting it down for the hour. This second one will fit into this coral stone like this and stand right somewhere about. So I'm resting it down, or be planted in a slanted fashion. And this, which gave me the most amount of trouble and does not have, I don't have enough coral stone for it. Apart from that, it has this cut point here and then roots. This went on to this, and I will leave it like this for now with the intention of getting something else to add to the back here. So this will sit into this on the planting, something like this, or I could plant it somehow. So I don't know, but the thing is, let's get these trees into position and into some soil. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at placing these two fellas first, and then I'm going to come to the last one. So let me get to that, because each moment out of water and soil, or moist soil, is not so good for these roots. Yeah, so let me do that. So what I did, my friends, I placed two of the plants on the coral stones into their respective places, or where I think they look the best, taking this as the front. So you have this coral stone coming up to you, this plant coming over the coral stone to the back here, and now it's to place the last one. And how best to place the last one? That is the question. So this is what I came up with. This is what I did. Let me know what you think in the comments about this piece of, I wouldn't call it a rush job. It's not, but it's not like I was contemplating on this for a few days. And I will admit, whilst I was contemplating, I was trying things and ended up doing a lot of the work off of camera. So what I'm going to do now is to just prune back some bits, just to give this planting a better chance at surviving. And then I'm going to give it a nice thorough watering. The coral bits that broke, I use those as additional bits in the planting to give it a little more of a realistic look, I guess. So let me prune back some stuff, and let's zoom in and take a look at it. Yeah, all right. So whilst I'm snipping are looking at some stuff, and this is very, very straight, and I don't think I want that as straight as it is. So I'm going to cut that down quite back here, and give this a chance to give me something a little bit better based on survival, of course. So I took that back. That looks better to me. It does. As I said, this is a very weird piece of material. Alright, my friends, so this is it here. This is the front, right? And of course I have to clean up this cut, but when it heals over properly, you can let me know. And we're going around. This is the back of the planting, and we're coming back to the front. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think in the comments about this body of work. And so on that note, my friends, thank you so very, very much for joining me here on Try Bonsai. Like, subscribe, share. Like, I appreciate the likes. I appreciate it. It doesn't do anything for me really, but I appreciate it. It shows that, the work that I'm doing is appreciated, and it has some kind of merit to it. The comments, I love the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you see anything else, any ideas that you may have that I did not pick up on. Drop it in the comments. Even if it's just to say hi, hey. And as I'm honest and always honest, trying to grow the channel, it would help greatly if you would share, and if you know people who would benefit from the things that I'm doing, from the standpoint at which I am going from, share away. That is it. So, as I usually say, be good to yourself. Be good to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. And always remember that our climate is our responsibility. Look at magic. Our climate is our responsibility. We have an opportunity to change it. If not for ourselves, we can for the generations to come. So take care. I will see you all soon. Bye.